Hello and welcome. I am Deji Badimasi. Now, one would have thought that the dispute over the 774,000 jobs recruitment of the federal government now has been resolved after the Ministry of Labour and Employment announced that it had kicked off the process. But it's far from it. Both the Senate and House of Representatives have passed resolutions insisting that the Minister of Labour, Dr. Chris Ngige, should be the one to supervise the program and not Festus Keyamo, that's the Minister of State. The lawmaker said Keyamo erred in law by taking over an assignment which was constitutionally assigned to the NDE through the revised 2020 Appropriation Act. But the ministry has also responded that the exercise would be supervised by Keyamo, under whose office the NDE operates. Joining me now to discuss this is Tonye ISOKARIARI, who is a public affairs consultant. He joins us via Skype from Abuja. With very much for joining us on the program, Tonye. Look, the Minister of State has actually gone ahead with this, with inaugurating that committee. I'm aware of that the various committees now have been inaugurated. And so, the program has already kicked off. But it appears the National Assembly is still insisting that Keyamo should not be in charge. But what do you make of this disagreement? Because whether we like it or not, anyway, the program has gone ahead, but we do not know what the NDE DG would choose to do. Who would he choose to obey? The minister or the lawmakers?
Thank you very much for having me. Interesting times we have in our country with some of the things that we've been hearing and also some of the things that have been going on, for the National Assembly to say, look, the NDE is supposed to handle it. I think that's what's supposed to be. The NDE is supposed to be directly involved in how that whole process is
but should
organized.
It be, should the NDE, because the NDE is a parastatal under the Ministry of Labor.
Yes, but it was created by law. Right? It was created by law to carry out assignments like this. So this is, I feel like the ministry is like a supervisory role, not that they are going to be the ones piloting the affairs of what's going on in NDE. I believe that there's a director general in NDE. I believe that there's a whole retinue of staff and all that in NDE that can handle some of all these things.
Now, let's get this straight. It's not as if the NDE is not the one carrying out this exercise, but of course, the minister is directing it. And let's not also forget that the exercise.
I don't think that the minister is. I feel like it looks like, from what we see from the outside, it looks like the ministry is actually in charge of the whole process. And I don't know at what premise the National Assembly is coming from, or they're using, the NDE Act to say, oh, the NDE is supposed to be directly involved. I believe the NDE should be directly involved. They should be the face of the program, not the minister. The minister should just be like a supervisory role, but the role, the responsibility, and how that program runs. In fact, anybody who but
the question is, who does the NDE DG actually reports directly to the Minister of State in the hierarchy of things? So should the National Assembly now be given directive to the DG?
The National Assembly shouldn't be giving directive to anybody. The National Assembly, their role is to come and find out if everything is done as they said it to be done, right? Their role is not to be giving orders. But I'm saying that from a layman's, from an outside view, I'm saying that the NDE should be the one piloting it. As it is today, I cannot see the NDE's face anywhere. So in the day-to-day process and the day-to-day running of that project, I believe that the NDE should take chairman's seat on how that thing is being run. That's all I'm saying. The National Assembly, of course, they have issues. We all watched and saw the issues they had.
Absolutely.
With the Honorable Minister for State. So there will definitely be, egos flying here and there. but at the end of the day, we must realize that governance is not for the selected elected members of National Assembly or for the honorable ministers, for Nigerians. And we must we must remove any challenge or ambiguity or anything that can distort what that program
whatever
was set up
personal
for.
disagreements they may have.
Yeah, whatever the personal agreements, you shouldn't come in between what should happen and how we need Nigerians to be employed to carry out various assignments, to be gainfully employed.
Are you not surprised that this is generating so much controversy? We're talking about an ad hoc recruitment exercise. These are jobs that will last for just 3 months, and of course the beneficiaries will be paid 20,000 naira each, and it's generating so much controversy. So much controversy. For instance, the minister made it clear that the lawmakers actually want more slots, that they've actually been given 15% slot, but that they want more, and that's actually the bone of contention. But are you not surprised that this is generating so much controversy?
You see, anything that has to do with employment, I understand where the National Assembly members are coming from, because I'm sure on a daily basis they are being bombarded with people from their constituency requesting for one job or the other. So I understand where their challenges are coming from. But like I said, this is one government. This is government that this is General President Muhammad Buhari's government. This is the Ninth Assembly. They should be able to come together and say, look, how do we benefit Nigerians? How do Nigerians benefit from this? And remove their personal challenges from the equation. Because I'm a bit disappointed at the row between the two parties, and I feel like the SGF should be able to call the minister, to order and say, look, how do we manage this situation so that it doesn't affect or blow out of proportion? Nigerians don't need to see all these things. We just need to see, okay, you have employed people and the people are actually getting
maybe that public hearing should not have taken place in the first place.
Now we are seeing a lot of public hearings shouldn't even occur in the first place, because it's just bringing out people's dirty leanings in public. As far as I'm concerned, the National Assembly should be carried along because they represent constituencies, they represent people, they represent the Nigerians. And if you're going to employ people, of course they should be carried along because they have people who are also Nigerian,
absolutely,
requesting for those jobs.
But we should also not forget that every Nigerian should get equal opportunity to get this job. So it's not just the
That's why we have
getting
774 local governments, and we have people from those local governments.
Exactly.
We must realize that the National Assembly represents Nigerians. So if we carry everybody along, then everybody will be able to equitably get what they're supposed to get.
Well, the most important thing is I also want the ordinary man out there who probably hasn't got any connection at all to also have equal access to this job, the same way that man who knows one lawmaker or one minister and all of that.
It's fun. I can tell you from my little experience that sometimes these lawmakers don't know anybody. They just have people come to their constituency offices and drop CVs.
And that's it.
They don't need. Sometimes they end up getting jobs. They may not even know the lawmaker. The lawmaker may not know. And the lawmaker's his own heartbeat is how can he provide jobs for his people and get some form of respite for his people. So,
all right, Tonya, we just have to leave it there. We thank you very much for joining us in the program and for your contributions. We'll take a short break now and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, after a stern warning issued to service chiefs by the president last month, insecurity is still a major talking point across the country. with the latest execution of 5 aid workers by suspected members of the Boko Haram sect. We're now back on the road again with calls, of course, for the removal of the service chiefs. During the week, the Senate adopted a resolution calling on the heads of security agencies to either resign or be sacked, and maintaining its previous stance. The presidency has said that, of course, remains the prerogative of President Muhammadu Buhari, who, of course, doesn't seem to be willing to do so. Now, the question is, how can Nigeria truly, and in every sense of the word, win this fight against insecurity? Are the service chiefs actually to blame for the current security situation in the country? Of course, this is not in any way to say the military hasn't done well, and this is not in any way to say our military is currently not doing well, but of course there are challenges. And how best can these challenges be addressed? Is it by sacking the service chiefs? Joining me to discuss all of this now is security expert Roy OKHIDIEVBIE, who joins us via Skype from Owerri. Thank you very much, Mr. OKHIDIEVBIE, for joining us on the program. First off, what do you make of the call by the Senate asking the service chiefs to either resign or that the president should sack them?
Well, thank you very much, Deji, once again, and I'm sure you are keeping safe. Well, for the purpose of this call by the Senate, I will rather say that the Senate were giving the unnecessary approval to bring this embarrassing call, because by military hierarchy, there is a tenure for every office. There is a tenure for every deployment. So if the military has kept to the tenure and removed itself from political infringement, distractions, there wouldn't be any need for this call. Then if also the purpose of the presidency for keeping the service chiefs beyond their tenure was to make sure the right structure was not truncated and to keep a follow-up on intelligence that has been gathered and strategies that are in place, then it also shows that there is no succession planning in the offices of the military. Because if there are succession planning, then you are supposed to hand over the workbook to the next officer who has also been in the theater of operations, who has also been trained for command and control strategy and operational capacity. So for the call from the Senate, it shows that actually the presidency is not reading the body language appropriately.
But of course, the president has responded. The president is saying that, look, it's a prerogative of the president himself to determine when the security chief should go and all of that, because, you know, it's his prerogative to actually fire them or to keep them, and not that of the Senate. But look, do you think, as an expert on security, do you think what we actually need today to probably rejig the fight against the insurgency in Nigeria and, of course, armed banditry, do you think that what we need to do is to remove the service chiefs?
Okay, so just respond briefly to the presidential response to what the Senate said. You will understand that initially, before this Senate coming into the removal of the service chiefs, same presidency has said we are tired of your excuses.
Yeah.
When the presidency comes out to say we are tired of your excuses, what does it mean? To term my report as excuses means you have lost faith in my report, means my report, my feedback, and the money being invested in your suggestions has not yielded the required result. Then I will say I am tired of your excuses. You know, so I think that for the Senate to be doing that call means that it becomes a political gameplay already. So we in the security industry, we know as practitioners where politics starts to come into security structures. So for the presidency to say we are tired of your excuses, definitely that was when the chief of army staff moved to the theater of operations. And moving to the theater of operations, the first thing he tried to do was to raise the morale of the troops. And when he raised the morale of the troops, he intended to just go in all angles to pull out the terrorists from their camp. Now, when the Senate is still calling for that, it's because we didn't take into cognizance when the terrorist groups had their shake-up. There was an internal shake-up in the terrorist organizations, ISWAP, Boko Haram, and all whatnot, and new commanders took up power. Some were killed, some ran away with their followers, their loyalists, to become bandits. Now, when these new commanders took up operational strategies, you could see now they are killing hostages. You could see they are attacking military installations. They are going out to cause outright terror, to intimidate and take back their space. So that is where we are, sir.
But I still have that question. You still haven't answered my question. Do you think what we need at this moment to rejig that fight against insurgency is to remove the service chiefs?
Okay, let me tell you what we need at this moment. What we need at this moment cannot be one action to be taken, which is removal of the service chiefs. What we need at this moment are blanket actions that should regain motivation for the troops, that will provide accessibility of intelligence and sharing of intelligence within the troops, and knock out opportunities for moles. Now, when you bring in intelligence and you bring in technology, that will also help you to wipe out moles and encrypt your intelligence sharing. Now, the purpose of removing the service chief is to give opportunity. So I agree that they are long overdue, long spent their approved tenure. So removing them will also allow others to exercise pent-up opportunities and strategies. And one of the purposes of removing the services is to help the military to increase morale. Because as I speak to you now, every soldier is just ready to drop their resignation. And this is not a right body
Of course,
language.
I mean, there are reports out there that about over 300 soldiers want to resign. But do you think these soldiers want to resign because of the service chiefs, because they don't like the service chiefs, or because there are other issues that may probably not have been addressed by the government? So maybe it's really not about the service chiefs.
Okay, I mentioned about intelligence, and I mentioned about using technology for intelligence sharing. So you can encrypt and protect. Now, because of leakages in intelligence, that's why you see all those ambushes that are taking the lives of
that is
so
sorry to interject there, but that is where the problem is. So how then could we blame the service chiefs for this? Now, this is the reason I'm asking all this question. The reason I'm asking this is because it appears there's this misconception out there that if you change the service chiefs, everything will be fine. Because you always hear people complain when there's an attack on the military or some civilians are killed. The general impression is that, look, the military is not supposed to get attacked. No soldier is supposed to die. Civilians are not supposed to get attacked. We should not have civilian casualties. But the truth is that even when the new service chiefs come, some of these things will happen. So does it mean when these things happen, we would then lose confidence in the new service chiefs?
No, you see, you are getting something mixed up, Deji. In the military, to keep motivation, to keep morale high, you must be sure that there is supply of equipment. You must be sure that men serve their tenure in the front line within the agreed term. You must be, and you must ensure that you understand. So when you have all of that, then if you have all of that going wrong, then there are people at the hands of affairs that should rejig. And who are the people at the hands of affairs? They are the service chiefs. So in the military, no soldier can come out and speak to you.
Is there
like
a possibility that some of these
soldiers.
issues, is there a possibility also that some of these issues actually go beyond the service chiefs and that, look, these are systemic and institutional problems?
Well,
for instance, we're not recruiting enough. We're not recruiting enough soldiers.
Let me come. No. If a service chief sees that he's not capable to execute what will protect his troops and what will protect the Nigerian society, nothing stops him from resigning. Nothing stops him from saying that there is a blockage for my opportunity to acquire enough this or that to get this thing done. So that blockage itself could not be surmounted, then you retire. Nothing stops you from that. When you begin to compromise because you want to remain there, it's a problem. It's a problem.
Well, but what I really don't understand in the whole of this thing is, look, we have a president who should know better than all of us, who should even know better than the members of the Senate. We're talking about a president who is a retired military general and has actually fought in wars. And don't you think there might be something that president, this retired military general, is seeing that some of us are not seeing, lay people, especially people in the Senate? And, you know, ordinary people like us. I'm just asking.
If we are going to... No, I know. If we are going to that route, that we have a president that was a military, you know, he was in combat throughout from the time of the Civil War. So definitely he has combat experience. But let me ask you this also. We have a president that is a veteran. We have a honorable minister of defense that is a veteran. And the veteran community right now have not been able to even get the increment for the minimum wage increase.
Now that's another thing altogether. And you're saying that because you're a veteran, of course. I understand you.
Yeah, I'm also saying that because I'm a military personnel. You can't say I'm a veteran without agreeing that I was a military personnel and I was in combat. So definitely, if you assume that we have a president that is and was in combat, you can understand that there are other responsibilities plaguing the office of the president that could distract him from having that on-the-go attention on the military. That's why you have your service chief. That's why they should say we are not capable because of X, Y, Z. They are not talking.
All right.
Thank you very much.
OKHIDIEVBIE, thank you very much for joining us on the program, and thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on this very burning issue. That's how much we can take on the program. We thank you very much for watching. We're back again next week. Bye-bye.